The pristine glass doors of Sterling Industries reflected my image as I walked into the building where I'd spent the last 5 years being systematically undervalued and overlooked. My simple black blazer might have looked modest compared to my sister Victoria's designer suits, but like everything else in my life now, its understated elegance masked something far more powerful. "Ms. Morgan, the board meeting starts in 20 minutes, my assistant James texted. He was already upstairs, preparing for what would become the most memorable board meeting in Sterling Industries history. I took a deep breath, touching the small silver pendant around my neck, my mother's last gift before she passed away, leaving me with nothing but memories and a small inheritance that Victoria had tried to contest. "The quiet ones," Mom used to say, "are the ones you should watch most carefully." The elevator dinged open on the executive floor, where Victoria's voice already carried down the hallway. No, the storage room will be fine for her. It's not like she contributes anything meaningful anyway." I rounded the corner to find my sister, impeccable in her Chanel suit, directing a junior assistant where to put my nameplate. Not at the boardroom table, of course, but in the small storage room adjacent to it. "Anna, darling." Victoria's false brightness could have powered a small city. "We're a bit cramped today. You understand, don't you? Important clients coming and all." I nodded quietly, watching her smile grow wider at my apparent submission. If only she knew that Phoenix Capital, the mysterious investment firm that had been quietly acquiring Sterling Industries shares over the past 3 years, was actually my company. "Oh, sit in the storage room," she smirked, gesturing to the cluttered space. "You can still hear everything from there. Not that you'd understand our high-level discussions anyway. 5 years ago such casual cruelty would have stung. Back then I was just the younger Morgan sister who'd chosen business school over law, who'd started in Sterling's accounting department while Victoria fast-tracked to executive status through our father's connections." "The storage room is fine," I said softly, settling into a dusty chair between filing cabinets. Victoria's smirk widened as she closed the door, leaving it open just enough for me to hear her idea of generosity. Through the gap I watched the board members file in. Each carried the latest report about Phoenix Capital's aggressive acquisition of Sterling shares. None of them knew that their mysterious buyer was sitting among old office supplies, listening to their worried whispers. "This Phoenix Capital," I heard Mr. Henderson, the CFO, say. "They've acquired nearly 45% of our shares. How did we not see this coming?" Victoria's laugh tinkled like expensive crystal. "Don't worry. Daddy's lawyers are looking into it. No one takes over Sterling Industries without our approval." I pulled out my phone, checking the time. In exactly 10 minutes, James would arrive with the final acquisition papers. The remaining 6% of shares we needed had been purchased this morning, giving me controlling interest in Sterling Industries. My father's voice boomed through the boardroom. "Let's begin. First order of business, this Phoenix Capital situation." I thought about the path that had led to this moment. After our mother's death, Victoria had convinced our father that I was too emotionally unstable to handle my inheritance. They tied it up in legal restrictions, forcing me to work under Victoria's supervision at Sterling Industries to prove my business acumen. What they didn't know was that I'd been building Phoenix Capital on the side, using the small amount Mom had managed to leave me directly. While they thought I was just a middling accountant, I was orchestrating one of the largest silent takeovers in the company's history. "The Phoenix Capital representative should be here any minute," the chairman announced. "They've requested this meeting to discuss the future of Sterling Industries." Victoria's heels clicked against the marble floor as she paced. "Whoever they are, they'll learn that Sterling Industries belongs to the Morgans. We've run this company for 3 generations." I checked my watch again. Time for the first act to begin. Right on cue, James's voice came through the boardroom speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, I present the CEO of Phoenix Capital." I stood up, straightening my blazer. Victoria's voice carried through the door. "Well, where are they?" I pushed open the storage room door, stepping into the bright boardroom light. "Right here." The silence that followed was absolute. Victoria's perfect makeup couldn't hide her shock. Our father's face had gone completely white. The other board members sat frozen, their expressions ranging from confusion to dawning comprehension. "Anna." Victoria's voice cracked. "What is this? Get back in the storage room." The Phoenix Capital CEO is coming. The Phoenix Capital CEO, I said clearly, is already here. James appeared at my side, placing a thick folder on the table. The final acquisition papers, Ms. Morgan. Phoenix Capital now owns 51% of Sterling Industries. Victoria's designer heel caught on the carpet as she stumbled backward. This is impossible. You're nothing. Just a failed accountant. I picked up my nameplate from the storage room door, placing it at the head of the boardroom table. Actually, sister dear, I'm your new boss. The room erupted in chaos. Board members frantically checking their phones, confirming what I'd just revealed. My father gripping the table like it might save him from this new reality. And Victoria, her carefully constructed world crumbling around her designer shoes. But this was just the beginning. The real storm was about to break, and I had 5 years of underestimation to repay. I took my seat at the head of the table, enjoying the way they all flinched at this simple assertion of power. Now then, I smiled, shall we discuss the future of Sterling Industries? The boardroom crackled with tension as I opened the acquisition folder. 5 years of careful planning, of staying quiet while Victoria belittled me, of watching my father dismiss my potential. It had all led to this moment. This is ridiculous. Victoria's voice shook despite her attempt at authority. Daddy, do something. Our father, Richard Morgan, had finally found his voice. Anna, whatever game you're playing. Game. I interrupted softly, sliding documents across the polished table. No game, Dad. Just business. Something you should have thought about before letting Victoria run this company into the ground. James clicked a remote and the presentation screen lit up with damning figures. Sterling Industries' declining market share, failed projects, and mounting losses under Victoria's leadership, all meticulously documented. Project Phoenix, I continued, enjoying how they flinched at the name, wasn't just about acquiring shares. It was about exposing incompetence. Victoria slammed her manicured hands on the table. How dare you? I've doubled our client base. You've doubled our liability, I corrected, pulling up more charts. Those clients you bragged about. Half of them are shell companies created to inflate our numbers. Did you think nobody would notice? The board members shifted uncomfortably. They'd suspected something was wrong but had been too afraid of the Morgan family's influence to investigate. Mr. Henderson, I addressed the CFO. Would you like to explain why you approved these fraudulent reports? Henderson's face went pale. Miss Morgan, Victoria assured me. That's enough, Anna. Our father stood up, his face purple with rage. You can't come in here and throw around accusations. I pulled out another folder, this one marked Morgan Family Trust. You mean like you threw around accusations about my emotional instability after Mom died? Used them to restrict my inheritance. The room went deadly quiet. Victoria's perfect composure cracked further. Oh yes, I smiled, let's talk about that. How you convinced the board I was unstable while embezzling money through fake client accounts. The evidence is all here. I patted the folder. Every transaction, every falsified report, every illegal transfer. You've been investigating us? Victoria whispered. No, sister dear. I've been watching you dig your own grave. Phoenix Capital didn't just buy shares, we bought data. Lots of it. From every employee you've mistreated, every client you've deceived, every partner you've betrayed. James distributed more documents to the shocked board members. You'll find complete documentation of all irregularities under the current management, plus proof of systematic discrimination, harassment, and financial misconduct. Victoria lunged for the papers, but I was faster. Careful, sister. Destroying evidence is a federal crime. Though that would be the least of your charges. Charges? Our father's voice cracked. The SEC is very interested in Sterling's creative accounting, I explained calmly. They're just waiting for my signal to begin a formal investigation. The boardroom erupted in panicked whispers. Several members were already texting their lawyers. Victoria had collapsed into her chair, her designer suit wrinkled, a perfect metaphor for her crumbling facade. What do you want? Our father asked quietly, his authority finally broken. I stood up, walking to the window that overlooked the city. What do I want? I want what I've earned. Control of Sterling Industries. Your immediate resignations. And I turned back to face them, a public acknowledgement of everything you've done. You'll destroy the company, Victoria protested weakly. No, I'll save it. Unlike you, I actually understand business. Real business, not just playing corporate dress-up with daddy's money. I pressed a button on my phone. James, please escort the SEC agents in. They're waiting in the lobby. Victoria jumped up, panic finally breaking through her practiced poise. You can't do this. We're family. Family. I laughed softly. Was it family when you made me work in the mailroom for a year? When you spread rumors about my mental health? When you stole my inheritance? The boardroom doors opened as federal agents entered, led by James. The look on Victoria's face was priceless. All that carefully applied makeup couldn't hide her fear now. Ms. Morgan, one of the agents nodded to me, we're ready to proceed with the interviews. I gestured to Victoria and our father. Start with them. I believe they have quite a story to tell. As they were led out, Victoria turned back one last time. Anna, please. We can work something out. We already did, I replied coldly. You worked very hard to prove I was nothing. Now you get to watch me become everything. The remaining board members sat in stunned silence as I took my place at the head of the table. Not in the storage room, not in the corner, but exactly where I belonged. Now then, I smiled, shall we discuss Sterling Industries' new direction? The weeks following what became known as the Morgan Massacre transformed Sterling Industries. Victoria and our father were facing federal charges, the corrupt board members had been replaced, and the company's stock was slowly recovering under my leadership. I sat in my new office, formerly Victoria's sanctuary of ego and excess, reviewing the latest financial reports. Where she'd filled the space with pretentious art and designer furniture, I'd opted for clean lines and practical elegance. The only personal touch was Mom's photo on my desk. Ms. Morgan, James appeared at the door. Your sister's attorney is here again. She's requesting another meeting. I glanced at the growing stack of letters from Victoria, all unopened. Same answer as always, James. Any communication goes through legal. He nodded, then hesitated. There's something else. Your father's wife, your stepmother, is in the lobby. She's quite insistent. Patricia Morgan, the society queen who'd helped Victoria orchestrate my emotional breakdown after Mom's death. How interesting that she'd surface now. Send her up, I decided. Let's hear what she has to say. Minutes later, Patricia swept in, designer handbag clutched like a shield. Anna, darling, we need to talk about this family tragedy. Family tragedy? I raised an eyebrow. You mean federal investigation into corporate fraud? She perched nervously on a chair, her Botoxed features attempting concern. Your father and sister made mistakes, but surely we can handle this privately? For the family's reputation. I opened my laptop, turning it to face her. Like you handled this privately? On screen was an email chain from 5 years ago. Patricia and Victoria plotting to have me declared mentally unfit after Mom's death, planning to divert my inheritance into Victoria's control. Where did you get those? She whispered, her perfect mask cracking. Mom wasn't as naive as you thought, I replied coldly. She kept records. Of everything. Including your attempts to access her medical records before she died. Patricia's hand flew to her throat. That's not. We were concerned. About her changing the will? I finished. About her planning to give me control of Sterling Industries instead of Victoria? Yes, I know all about that too. I stood up, walking to the window overlooking the city. The same view Victoria used to lord over, thinking she was untouchable. Did you know Mom came to my apartment the week before she died? I continued. She told me everything. About Victoria's embezzlement, about Dad's affairs, about your little schemes. She gave me copies of all the evidence. Then why wait 5 years? Patricia demanded. Why let them hurt you? I turned back, smiling. Because revenge served cold tastes better. Because watching Victoria destroy herself while thinking she was destroying me was poetic justice. Because I learned from you all how to play the long game. My phone buzzed, another text from Victoria's lawyer. Probably another plea deal attempt. The SEC has everything, I told Patricia. Every document, every email, every transaction. Victoria's looking at 15 years. Dad might get less if he cooperates. And you? She clutched her bag tighter. I had nothing to do with the company. No, but conspiracy to commit fraud, attempting to access private medical records, and perjury in trust proceedings? That's enough to keep you busy in court for years. What do you want? She whispered, the same question they all asked eventually. I sat back down, picking up Mom's photo. I want you to deliver a message. Tell Victoria I received her marriage invitation. Patricia blinked in confusion. Marriage invitation? To James Cooper, I smiled. My new suit. The one who helped me acquire Sterling Industries. She's been trying to seduce him for months, thinking he was Phoenix Capital's representative. Understanding dawned on Patricia's face. He was working for you the whole time? Victoria always did underestimate loyalty, I mused. She thought everyone could be bought. She never understood that some people actually believe in justice. I handed Patricia an envelope. Give her this. It's my RSVP, along with copies of every flirtatious email she sent James, documented for her federal fraud case. You're destroying our family, she accused. No, I corrected her. I'm avenging mine. The real one. The one you all tried to erase. After she left, I buzzed James. Any word from the London office? The merger's proceeding as planned, he reported. Sterling Phoenix International will launch next quarter. I smiled, touching Mom's photo. Perfect. And Victoria's office. Being converted to the employee daycare center as we speak. Poetic justice indeed. The space where she'd plotted my downfall would now help working parents. Something she'd always opposed as unnecessary coddling. My phone buzzed again, a news alert. Sterling Industries announces historic transformation under new leadership. The photo showed me in the boardroom, not in the storage room where they tried to hide me. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's success achieved exactly the way they said you couldn't. Every person who dismissed me, undermined me, or tried to break me had become a stepping stone to this moment. I picked up the stack of Victoria's unopened letters, dropping them in the shredder. The past was paper, but the future? The future was pure diamond, and I'd carved it myself. James, I called out, schedule the press conference for tomorrow. It's time to announce the global expansion.